David can't work. He's a father now, my mom snapped while guilt-tripping me to fund his life. I replied, then I'm not your wallet. 2 weeks later, I found a $14,500 loan in my name and reported her for fraud. I was raised in a home where fairness didn't really exist. My parents always treated Ryan, my younger brother, better than me. If he made a mistake, they'd jump in and fix it for him. If I did something good, they barely reacted. That's just how it was. And I got used to it. As soon as I could, I moved out. I found a job, got my own apartment. It wasn't anything special, but it belonged to me. I handled my bills, worked full-time, and never asked my parents for anything. Ryan, though, stayed living with them. He kept switching between different jobs, never holding one for long. About a year ago, his girlfriend, Jessica, became pregnant. My parents were thrilled. It was their first grandchild. They organized a baby shower, helped put together a nursery, and acted like this was the most amazing thing ever. I assumed this would finally push Ryan to be responsible. A baby means real work and commitment, right? But no, he quit his part-time job and said he wanted to be a full-time dad. Jessica moved in with my parents, and they didn't seem to care that he wasn't earning anything. They paid for everything. Groceries, utilities, baby supplies, you name it. I could tell their money was tight, but they didn't act like it mattered. Then one day, completely unexpectedly, my mom called me. She started with light conversation, but I knew something was up. Soon, she got to the point. "Don't you think your rent is a bit low?" she asked. I was thrown off. "What?" Then she used that overly sweet voice she always used before dropping bad news and said, "Ryan has a baby to care for now, and things are tight for us. You should be pitching in more." I was speechless. "You're asking me to support Ryan's family, not support them," I replied. "Just help out more. You make decent money, don't you?" she said. I laughed, really laughed, because they weren't asking Ryan Iosao to find a job. They weren't expecting Jessica Crow to contribute anything. They were asking me, the one who moved out pays for everything himself and never needed their help. I said, "No." She didn't like that answer. She started going on about how family takes care of each other and said I was being selfish. She claimed Ryan was trying his best, but it was tough right now. I asked why he couldn't just get some kind of job. Her reply, "He's a dad now. He needs to stay home with the baby." So I was expected to work non-stop while Ryan had got to stay home and relax because he had a kid. I ended the call. I told her I wasn't giving them any money and hung up. I thought that would be the end of it, but I was wrong. A week later, my dad called. He gave me the same speech, but in a harsher tone. "Your mother told me about your attitude. We gave you everything as a kid. This is how you thank us?" I reminded him that I've been paying for my own life for years. Never asked them for help and built everything on my own. His response, "That doesn't matter. We're your parents. You owe us." I told him no. Again, that's when they really started to guilt-trip me. My mom began sending texts saying how tired and overwhelmed they were, how raising a baby at their age was exhausting, how let down they felt by me, and how I should appreciate everything they did for me. Then came the accidental phone calls. I'd pick up and hear Ryan in the background complaining about how hard things were, how they were cutting back on food, how the baby needed the stuff they couldn't afford. Every call ended with my mom letting out a sigh and saying, if only someone could help. They were clearly trying to wear me down. And then came the breaking point. One evening, I got home from work and found an envelope taped to my door. Inside was a handwritten bill. My parents had listed everything they'd ever paid for while raising me, meals, clothes, school stuff, and decided I owed them back. The total came to several thousand. I was livid. I called my mom and asked if she'd lost her mind. She stayed calm and said, "We looked after you all those years and never asked for anything. It's only fair you give back now." That was it for me. I didn't shout. I didn't argue. I just made up my mind. That night, I packed every item I owned, canceled my apartment lease, called a friend who lived in another state and had a spare room, and said, "I'm coming." By sunrise, I had vanished. When my parents got up, I was already gone. They were likely puzzled. I ignored every call. Soon after, Ryan and his partner began begging for cash. Maybe they assumed I'd eventually cave in, but I didn't. I had reached my limit, and that's when things began crumbling for them. The initial few days after I disappeared were oddly calm. Too calm. I thought I'd get bombarded with furious messages or phone calls, but nothing happened. Not a word from my mom. Not a text from Barbara Ryan. It felt like they were trying to punish me with silence, as if pretending I didn't exist would force me to come crawling back. But 1 week later, my phone blew up. My mom called first. "What did you just do?" she yelled. "We got up and your place was totally empty." I said nothing. Let her panic. She kept yelling. I listened quietly. She was nervous, and I was glad. Then she switched tactics. "If you don't return and pay what you owe, we're cutting ties." I almost burst out laughing. Cut me off from what exactly? I had no connections left with them. No bills, no keys, no shared stuff. I had already taken my files, documents, even childhood photos. They had zero leverage. I ended the call. Soon after, Ryan rang me. I didn't pick up. Then he messaged me. "Dude, are you for real? You just bailed? We've got no food. Mom's losing it. You're seriously going to leave your nephew like this?" I said nothing. Then he sent another message. "Mom's letting me move into your old room." I rolled my eyes. Of course she was. Their trick was always the same. Erase me like I never mattered, hoping I'd crawl back, craving their attention. I blocked him without another thought. 2 days after that, I got a surprise call from my office's HR team. "Sorry to disturb you," the rep said, "but your parents contacted us. They're listed under your emergency contacts, and they requested we deduct a portion of your salary and forward it to them." I nearly passed out. I had to step outside to process what I'd heard. My own family tried to take my wages. The HR manager reassured me it wasn't going to happen, but suggested I delete them from my contact file right away. I did exactly that. Then, just to be careful, I checked my credit report. And there it was, a suspicious credit pull. Someone had tried to apply for a card under my name. I was stunned. I looked into the listed address. It was their house. My blood boiled. I rang my mom. She picked up instantly. Her voice was syrupy sweet, like everything was fine. "Oh, sweetheart, change your mind?" I didn't waste time. "Did you try to get a credit card using my name?" She went quiet, then said, "I have no idea what you're talking about." I laughed bitterly. "You're actually lying to me right now." She sighed in frustration. "We needed a little support, that's all. It's not like you were using the credit." I nearly threw my phone. "That's identity theft. That's a serious crime." She snorted. "Relax. Families share stuff all the time." That was it. I submitted a fraud report, froze my credit profile, set alerts everywhere. I thought that would be the last of it. But then came an unexpected call. This time, not from my parents, but from Jessica. I almost didn't answer. Curiosity won. "Hi, sorry for calling," she began softly. "I didn't know who else to reach out to." I stayed quiet. She continued. "Your parents? They tricked me." Now I was listening. "Tricked you? How?" I asked. Her voice shook. "About money. About everything." She inhaled sharply. "They said they were covering everything. They promised to help. They swore Ryan wouldn't have to work and could stay with the baby. I waited for the rest." She finally said it. "They were just swiping credit cards. They're drowning in debt." I blinked in disbelief. I had just learned the truth. When I checked the mailbox earlier, I found a warning that the electricity was about to be disconnected. Behind that was one for gas, then one more for water. My chest tightened. I asked, "Your mom, what was going on?" She panicked, said it was a misunderstanding. Then she gave a cold, sarcastic laugh. She must think I'm completely clueless. That's when she revealed the shocking part. She said you were supposed to handle all of the bills, that everything going wrong was your fault. I nearly dropped my phone. They blamed me, not Ryan, who refuses to find work, not themselves, even though they constantly spend money they don't have. Me? I took a breath and said, "So, what exactly do you expect me to do?" She didn't speak at first. After a long pause, she finally whispered, "I need to get away." At that moment, I realized I wasn't done getting even. I leaned forward, hand gripping my phone so tightly it hurt. Jessica sounded completely exhausted. I could hear the baby crying in the background. She was falling apart. "I can't stay here," she said again, her voice cracking. "I don't know what to do." I didn't say anything. I waited. "I know I don't deserve your help," she continued, "but I'm stuck. I know life isn't always fair. We've all been there, feeling stuck, lost, or even betrayed by the very people we thought would always be there for us. But if there's one thing I've learned, it's that we have the power to shape our own story. Just because someone shares your last name doesn't mean they'll always have your best interests at heart. Family isn't about obligation. It's about support, respect, and love. And when you realize that, it's easier to walk away from toxic situations, even if it feels like you're breaking something. So, to anyone out there feeling stuck or alone, trust me when I say you have the strength to change your path. Keep your head up, stay true to yourself, and remember, you're not alone in this. Don't let anyone make you feel otherwise.